Hello, welcome, make yourself at home. Thank you for accepting my invitation to Big Girl Brunch with Bern, where we talk about big girl things over big girl brunch. For today's brunch, we're discussing the exploitation of the Filipino micro-influencer in the beauty industry. I know that's a long title, so we can also just put the title as the exploitation of the micro-influencer, but know that it is specifically the Filipino micro-influencer working in the beauty industry or trying to work in the beauty industry anyway. How are you guys? I feel like it actually hasn't been that long since my last video. I feel like it hasn't been that long since my last podcast episode. But I think that's just in like my standards because I haven't been posting regularly and I post like 4 times a year. I was trying to think of my update since the last episode uh and that's why I realized it hasn't been that long because still the biggest thing that has happened as of late is me going to Thailand, which has been months, which happened like months ago. I But aside from that, I got to go home for Undas in Bulacan, which I never really get to do that often anymore. And every time I go there, it's like there's something new, and it really feels like I'm a visitor. It rarely feels like I am from there anymore. It only feels like that when I get to our house where I grew up. But aside from that, the town itself, it really feels like it feels foreign. Other than that, I've also been trying to hang out with more friends. I've seen a lot of different friends lately, which is nice. I saw Kent in Bulacan when I went there. I saw Echo and Eliza, and I brought them to Sushi Nori in UP Town. I also hung out with Jensen Rain in Gateway, which was nice. So yeah, what other things have happened? Yeah, I've just been working a lot, and it's really been getting to me. I feel like I crave knowing my purpose, and it's been hard to get through regular days lately just because I feel like I'm craving for change. But I have to be patient with myself. I have to be patient with my plans as well. I don't have a lot of plans, but I have a bit of a plan. I have like a whiff of a plan, and I should stick with it for now. I'm a very impatient person. That's why parang inip na ako. Gusto ko nang baguhin yung trajectory ng buhay ko, which can't happen in like a day. um, what else? I our our dog, one of our dogs, Augustus, which was everyone's like favorite good boy. He passed away a week ago, I think, or 2 weeks ago. And that's also been really hard. When this break was actually, instead of restful, very worrisome and anxiety inducing because he was in the vet for a week, I think, before he passed away. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing better because being an adult is very tiring. I've actually been thinking about the topic, the exploitation of the micro influencer, since last year because of some experiences I had with like a small following. But I never really got to making an outline for this, and I just kind of dropped it because I was doing other things and I was thinking of other topics that were easier to outline. But yeah, the day finally came, and it's because I'm really tired, guys. I'm really tired. So yeah, first, I guess the question is, what even is a micro influencer? It's pretty obvious. It's like a small influencer. There is no standard number. There's no standard number of followers for you to be considered a micro influencer or like a big influencer. It can start at like 1,500 followers, 3,000 followers, can be 10,000, even 50,000 is sometimes considered a micro influencer anyone who has less than 100,000 followers can be called a micro-influencer still in any platform. The question is, why are brands flocking to micro-influencers? I've seen this in the local beauty or makeup industry the past few years. Everyone's asking content creators, small content creators specifically, to collaborate with them. And there are a few answers to this according to some articles that I saw. The first one was written in 2017, which is a pretty long time ago. This is from Fashionista. They say that the micro-influencer tends to have a higher engagement and a more authentic connection to their followers. In quotes, they say, often the smaller followings do have better engagement rates and they haven't gotten big enough yet where there are people who follow them just because they have a big following. If you look at their data, naturally, as a following grows, engagement percentage falls. So the average engagement for somebody with 50,000 followers is about twice the size as somebody with 1 million followers. Supposedly, micro-influencers have more genuine followers and they also have opinions that are more genuine. Okay, for me, I have 30,000 followers, which is a lot just in general. If you tell someone you have 30,000 followers, they'll be like, that's a that's a following. That's like a pretty big following. But in comparison to other influencers, this is nothing. 30,000 followers is nothing. And to me, I feel like people who follow me do engage with my videos quite a bit. It feels like more of a tight-knit community because you're not you're not facilitating as big of a community as someone with 1 million followers on TikTok. So it's easier for people to just comment on your videos as if you're friends. And I personally like that feeling. The thing about opinions being more genuine, at a time when everyone's trying to be an influencer on TikTok and a big influencer at that, micro influencers can have less genuine opinions just so they can pander to more brands or they can appeal to more brands. And again, this was written in 2017, so it might be less applicable to now. The other article is from Forbes and it was published in 2021, which is more recent. It's titled Micro Influencers When Smaller is Better. They say that there's also less demand from other brands in terms of collaborating with micro influencers, and that's why it's easier to partner with them because there's also a tendency for big influencers to be in like locked in contracts with competing brands, and so they can't partner with those influencers. There's also a point to be made that micro influencers are more authentic again. They have a more niche market because again they're just starting, and people who are just starting or people who are smaller tend to find a niche so that people can find them. And lastly, I think the biggest reason is that micro influencers are much cheaper to partner with than big influencers. So especially in the Philippines, micro influencers in the beauty industry are paid very low and they will lowball you even if your rates aren't even that high. It's crazy. Anyway, so why am I speaking about this topic? Well, I for one again kind of count as a beauty micro influencer or small beauty content creator. Although I've been trying to veer away from that on TikTok. I've been trying to post book content, but at the core, I am still considered a small beauty content creator. I In high school, I wanted to be a YouTuber so bad. I was obsessed with beauty videos from Amanda Steele, Maddie Bragg, Garden Rose, and Claudia Soluski, who is now dating Billie Eilish's brother. Crazy. Anyway, so I've been consuming beauty content for quite a bit since I was maybe 16 until now. And I wanted to be like them so bad. I wanted to be an influencer so badly. That's why I actually got a mirrorless camera from Canon because I was convinced that I would be a beauty content creator. And then I just kind of gave that dream up. I actually had a YouTube video reviewing Colorette when they were just starting. Not just starting, but when they were a smaller, newer brand. But I think I've hidden most of my beauty videos on YouTube already. So anyway, that's the origin of my wanting to create content. And then during the pandemic, when TikTok boomed, obviously I cringed like most people, and then I gave in because the pandemic was making everyone feel insane. And I found myself being followed by people. I mostly had skits then and like memes, Athenian content, and it's mostly lip syncing stuff until I started to kind of pivot to makeup videos like I wanted to. And I found myself getting engagement still, so I just continued that. And then one day last year, Focalure randomly messaged me that they wanted to send me PR, their sunscreen, and a few lip products. And I rejoiced. I was so happy that someone was actually sending me a PR because it made me feel like someone was taking me seriously. But looking back, I guess they saw me as a beauty micro-influencer, but it's also a thing that brands probably think that you're easier to exploit because you're a beauty micro-influencer. You're a small content creator, so PR should be fine, right? These products from Focalure, they weren't simply gifted. It was an X deal, which is an exchange deal. If you still don't know what an X deal is, it's basically they give you their product and then you have to make a video about it. There are terms to this. Usually, it's not just like, okay, I'll give you PR and then you do whatever content you want with the PR. Usually, they have a format for this. They have an outline for what they want you to talk about. Or sometimes, if not an outline, they have samples and you don't always have to follow it, especially with brands now. Okay, some brands you have to follow the outline. Some brands, it's just like suggestions for what content you can make. But yeah, there are always terms that are like, do not mention other brands, do not show the product in a negative light, stuff like that. I got my first PR package from Focalure, which is an X deal, and then I got into Colorette Click, which was like my dream in senior high. I wanted to be part of the Colorette Click so badly. I think I auditioned thrice or four times before I got accepted finally. And then last year as well, I got into Vice Cosmetics campaign for their new foundation. And these all happening in the same year, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I actually feel like an influencer. I'm not a big influencer, but I feel like brands are taking me seriously. Brands are actually looking at me. And it's true. For a while, it was like brands wanted to work with me. And with this, a lot of other brands reached out to me asking me if I wanted to work with them. And I was like, sure. At first, I was like saying yes to everything. Unless they're not aligned with my morals, I usually say yes. And more because of this, I really became a beauty micro influencer. And then I didn't notice that I was mostly just really posting beauty on my TikTok account. It was fun for a bit. Getting PR was my dream as a senior high school student, as a junior high school student. And I didn't mind the X deals at first because it was not a lot. So it was few and far in between and it didn't tire me out. I started to get more and more emails, more X deals. This would demand my time, but I said it was fine because it just means that you get to work with more brands. You can put it in your portfolio, etc., etc. And then one day, a brand emailed me asking me if I'm open for a paid deal. Without disclosing the brand, they asked me if I could do 10 videos for 3,000 pesos. And 3,000, when you look at it, just like 3,000, especially as a student, I was like, I have no money, I have no allowance. Like, I am desperate to get 3,000 pesos. But for 10 videos, so they're asking to pay me 300 pesos for one TikTok video. I really felt a little disrespected when that happened. It's not like I'm not grateful that a brand is reaching out to me to pay me for videos, but 300 pesos a video, like an X deal, is less rude just because they're not like, okay, we're not gonna pay you, we're just gonna give you the product. But dude, 300 for a video. Come on. I was maybe like 10,000 followers in or even less. Sure, but still, it's like you're not even paying for the labor that I'm doing for these videos, and it's 10 videos. I was truly shocked. I think that started my disillusionment, and it's so weird because that was my first paid brand deal. I accepted it. I kind of negotiated. Not enough. I asked them to lessen the videos. It still was a lot of videos for the amount that I was paid for, but I was like, it's fine. I just I I just need my first paid brand deal and it will get better. I started to get asked constantly for X deals through my social media work email, or if not directly an X deal, it's they will say that you get the product and you also get 10% commission through sales on TikTok shop, etc., etc. And it's just now I don't find myself gravitating towards that space anymore, those deals, those partnerships. I still do this sometimes. I still do X deals sometimes when I want to try the product or I have a relationship with a brand. Otherwise, I really don't, because X deals can be so demanding tapos hindi ka naman bayad. As in dati, hindi ako mindful kahit X deal. I will do the work, I will get the product, I will try it, and then everything will be fine. Kahit na demanding pa kayo as a brand, kahit di naman kayo nagbabayad, okay lang. Pero ngayon, parang pagod na ako. Pagod na ako talaga. At 30,000 followers now, my rates are barely any higher. I mean, higher naman na compared dun sa 300 per TikTok video. Hindi naman na ganun kababa. Pero kumbaga, I feel like it's still very low. And yung iba, tatawaran pa yung rates mo kahit na barya na nga lang yung rates mo sa kanila. Especially knowing na brand sila na kumikita ng pera, tapos babayaran ka nila na parang, ano yun, pangkain mo ng isang meal, ganun. It's very frustrating. You really feel exploited as a micro-influencer because people know na mas accepting ka of X deals dahil micro-influencer ka, and mas accepting ka rin sa mas mababang rates dahil micro-influencer ka. Well, obviously, ang binabayaran din nila is yung laki ng followers mo. Pero syempre, 'di ba, yung labor pa lang na ginagawa mo for them, and yung kumbaga free ad space na nakukuha nila sa profile mo. Tapos pwede pa nilang i-repost, may rights pa sila dyan. Tapos ang baba-baba ng rate. Sobrang grabe, exploited na exploited ka, girl. And I'm not saying that I will never ever work with beauty brands ever again, or like I will never ever work with ad agencies na who want me to do beauty content, because for sure I will in the future. Pero do you understand my frustration na your labor is barely paid for? Parang feeling ko ang binabayaran na lang nila minsan is yung fact na ma-post ka sa profile mo, pero yung effort na binibigay mo for a video, parang halos hindi naman nababayaran or hindi nababayaran enough. And yun nga, ilolowball ka talaga kung micro-influencer ka kasi alam nilang hindi naman ganun kalaki yung following mo eh. So, anong bargaining power mo, 'di ba? Which gets ko naman, like everything in a capitalistic world, everything is business and everything is about profit. But it gets so frustrating. It gets so tiring. Another thing is that Many brands also get micro-influencers tapos sobrang rushed. Like the turnover is 1 or 2 days and they expect you to revise as soon as possible as if you don't have a job outside of micro-influencing. Like an agency will contact you and then after like they send the product, you're expected to give them the draft after 1 or 2 days. And then after that, when they send it to the brand, you are expected to send the revised video the same day as when they gave you the revision point, which is crazy because I have a different full-time job. I'm not a content creator full-time. Kasi hindi naman ako mapapakain ng content creation. Hindi ako mapapakain ng binabayad sa akin ng brand sa sobrang liit. Mapapakain nila ako pero kunwari isang buong araw lang. Ganun. So, ayun yung experience ko. Sobrang baba ng bayad sa'yo. Tapos, tatawaran ka pa. Tapos, ine-expect pa sa'yo na kaya mong magmadali all the time. Na parang available ka 24/7 to do your revisions, to send the videos in. And alam ko naman na yung mga nasa ad agencies din and yung mga nagtatrabaho sa brand, sa marketing, lahat naman tayo exploited. At lahat naman tayo ay frustrated sa ganitong setup dahil nga sa kapitalismo. Like, nakakapagod talaga. Pero, ayun, feeling ko lang wala akong kapangyarihan as a micro-influencer. Hindi man lang ako alam mo yun, hindi man lang ako makapagreklamo na ang bilis ng turnover. Kasi pag nagreklamo ako, syempre hindi na nila ako kukunin, which is obviously fine. Pero nakakapanghinayang pa rin yung makukuha mo kahit di ka naman papakainin for a month. Nakakapanghinayang pa rin kasi hindi naman ako mayaman. So, 'di ba? Sayang. Sayang lang yung pera kaya hindi pa rin ako makatanggi fully. Now, let's go to specifically the beauty space. Kahit na medyo na-touch on ko na to dun sa experience ko. So, I heard recently that my experience is more common in the beauty space in the Philippines compared to other industries or fields like tech. I talked to one of my content creator friends recently at an event and they were talking about their experience as a beauty influencer and as a tech influencer. And in beauty, we are barely paid anything if you're not a big influencer. And compared to tech partnerships that she's done, like sometimes tech people would offer her even a higher pay compared to her rates because her rates seem lower than their budget, which is insane to me because that has never happened to me bargaining through email with beauty brands or agencies working with beauty brands. There's also this common thing that brands do na they will ask to repost your video on their page, and hindi ito yung tipong repost as in retweet or share it on their story or repost on TikTok. It's a kind of repost where they re-download your video and then post it on their page as their own content. And I usually give brands permission even if they don't pay me, even if it's not even like a partnership at all. I just really like their product and then posted about it. But sometimes they will still ask you if they can repost that. And I think all of the time I say yes. And I don't know if I'm sacrificing my integrity by letting them do that, but I am so afraid of losing in the end, like losing the connection with that brand forever. I feel weak. I feel powerless as a micro influencer. I know as a person I have so much power and I have freedom, I have autonomy, but in a world where I have to earn money and I'm desperate to get more exposure, I'm like, sure, why not? No worries. Post it on your page. It's so tiring. Also, disclaimer for this, like the reposting of videos, some beauty brands I actually really like working with and they ask me the same thing and I'm like, sure, it's okay. I love working with you. I love your product, so it's fine. I just wish that brands offered to pay as an absolute. Like, if you're asking me to partner with you, to work with you, to collaborate with you, offer to pay me straight up. I wish I didn't have to ask to be paid. I wish I didn't have to demand for a higher fee. I wish I felt valued on the absolute, especially with so many micro influencers in the scene, and especially with younger people who are more open to not being paid. It's impossible. Isa lang naman ako sa maraming micro-influencer. So, in the end, what do I matter to brands if hindi ako pumayag? Meron naman silang ibang micro-influencer na pwedeng tanungin and they'll be fine. It feels like to me the destiny of a beauty micro-influencer is to be exploited. And the only two ways to get out of this is to get big enough that you're an actual influencer that brands pay well, or to just do beauty content for fun that no brands ask of you. So it's like your own choice to do it. Because as of now, I do like I do like making beauty content, but with the amount of brands asking me to do X deals with them, and they're so demanding pa when we're doing these X deals, di naman ako bayad. It's becoming less and less enjoyable. I also think that beauty influencers, compared to other niches in social media, it really feels like you're entirely commodified. And just the way you look. And it's so demeaning. Sometimes it's very demeaning. I know that every person is more than their looks, but sometimes when I attend events, sometimes when I attend beauty events, and this is a rare occasion, me attending a beauty event, but sometimes when I do that, I feel weird because I feel like I'm only there because of my looks, and I just know that everyone is more than their looks, but I know that it's also everyone's job. So it's like this cycle that doesn't end. And I know that everyone in this day and age is commodifying themselves to earn because everyone needs to earn, but beauty content creators are commodifying the way they look, and they're asking other people to change the way they look because that's their job. Not asking other people to change their look, but suggesting that other people to change their look to fit the beauty standards. And I feel like my brain is gonna explode thinking about this. As beauty content creators, let's be real. We're not just making beauty content, we're selling beauty products, we're selling makeup, we're selling skincare. We can't entirely do this without commodifying ourselves and our appearance. And I would want to I want to be beautiful. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to be beautiful, but when we become obsessed with our looks, with our beauty, or with wanting to be beautiful, and we also ask others to be obsessed as us, it doesn't sit right with me. We can't do all of this without commodifying people's insecurities. Sure, there's beauty content that really doesn't ask you to be aware of your insecurities. They're just like, oh, it's fun. It's fun to try new products, but at the core, nothing is really just that wholesome. Like for example, now everyone wants you to wear sunscreen, and sunscreen is good. On the absolute, sunscreen is good because it protects us from the harmful rays of the sun because of climate change, etc., etc. We want people to wear sunscreen. But then there are filters on TikTok that beauty content creators would use that apparently shows you parang if you wore sunscreen or not, and how damaged your skin is, and how fast you will age because you're not wearing sunscreen. And these are just like, we are planting insecurities on other people, and I don't like that. I really don't like that. I don't even know if I have a point. And I think all of this, all of these thoughts that I have, all of these things that I'm spewing out, all of these like frustrations that I'm airing out right now, it has caused me to feel burnt out with making content. I'm personally tired of chasing deadlines, whether that's submission deadlines for videos or revision deadlines. I'm tired of getting paid so little and then also so delayed. I feel so burnt out. I feel so tired of being in this space and feeling so insecure about my position in this space as a micro influencer. Before I end this, I want to say that one, I know that local beauty brands are actually much kinder to micro influencers compared to big brands. And I guess it's also the fact that they are local, so maybe they don't have enough to pay micro influencers. But so sinong sino mag-a-adjust at saan lulugar ang parehas. Feeling ko lang sometimes micro-influencers are doing too much free labor, unpaid labor. Okay, walang pambayad yung brands. So ganun na lang. Yung individuals na lang na gumagawa ng content para sa'yo yung papayag na, okay, wala na lang bayad. Kasi, I'm also doing this for fun. This is my passion. But people who do their passion also want to be paid. Just because something is your passion does not mean that you do not deserve to be paid for the work that you have done. I just don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in this space right now. And I'm really at the point where I'm questioning all of it. I guess it's more of, maybe it's a me problem. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I just don't know what I'm doing with my life. But this exploitation is really exacerbating my feelings. Last disclaimer is, I know I'm at a very privileged position. Not everyone is able to gain a following. Not everyone has a community that trusts them or likes engaging with them. And know that I love interacting with people who follow me. That's not the problem at all. That's my favorite part of this whole thing. Having a community to talk to, having people tell me that they like watching my content because it makes them feel less alone. But that is so different. The community and the way that I make them feel, I feel is separate from me making beauty content, especially for brands. At this point, who am I really servicing? I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have had. I'm grateful for the experiences. I'm grateful for the free things that I get. But with the time that it consumes for me, content creation and partnerships, and parang I can't find time for other hobbies that I have because I'm trying to work on stuff for partnerships or for collaborations. And then I won't get paid for months, which is in the contract, but still, like, it's getting too much. I don't know if I will eat my words. I don't know if after this I will be in like many partnerships with beauty brands. But I just really wanted to talk about how I feel that micro-influencers in the Philippines are exploited, especially in the beauty space. Brands are practically getting free exposure because beauty content creators are giving them that. And I'm part of that. I'm not excluded from that. Yeah. I don't have a clean conclusion. I was just saying things out of my own experience, out of my own frustrations, out of my own exhaustion. And I hope any of that made sense. Thank you for listening. That might have been hard to listen to. I'm afraid I sounded like Emma Chamberlain being out of touch for the entire episode, but I hope not. I hope you understand what I'm saying. To be fair, I am not paid anything close to what Emma Chamberlain is paid. So, yeah. Thanks for listening. That wraps up today's episode. Thank you for stopping by for a chat at Big Girl Brunch with Bern. If you'd like, you can follow or subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to be notified when a new episode comes out. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram at Big Girl Brunch for more podcast updates. If you have any topic suggestions or requests for the podcast, please message us on Instagram at Big Girl Brunch or at Jelbedoodle, which is my personal account. See you next brunch.